So I wanted to record a quickie on this one. The question is, does the universal forwarder need to have a shell? Let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm on a Splunk system with a universal forwarder. That's just forwarding some basic logs. If I go to Etsy, I think it's password, I'm going to go down. This is a relatively clean installation of Splunk. We can see Splunk user was added, and it gave itself bin bash. That is to say, someone can become Splunk and take actions, which is kind of a, if you don't need that, you probably shouldn't give that out for security reasons. So I started thinking to myself, okay, just so we're, everybody remembers that how this works, no login. We can remove the shell. The account can exist, but it has no shell, so sbin no login. Yeah, typos, doesn't look like. So now that if I try to become Splunk, there's no user account to attack, exploit, or otherwise use. So now that I've disabled that shell, did I lose some functionality? Interesting. So I came over here, now that we know that it's disabled, I'm going to go ahead and just, let's take an argument, restart Splunk, so that nothing's cached or running or whatnot. I only recently noticed this feature on Splunk too. It's now owning itself on restarts. Interesting. Maybe that's a Splunk 9 thing. I might check that out on my old Splunk 8 systems. So we're going to pause for a second while this restarts. Okay, so we're back up. Splunk restarted, took a second or two. So I'm going to go ahead and go back a level into my local. I created an app called Forwarder TA. I'm in the local directory. We're going to look at inputs.com. So I'm going to collect data from varlog, toss that in a main, and I'm going to run a script every 30 seconds called test. I'm going to go ahead and ship that up to Splunk. As we can see, it's working. My script is executing. You can see what it does. It just says worked over and over again. And then my general collection from that folder or that particular file is also working. So if I actually flip back to the last 15 minutes and I add the word worked, and I guess I should demo how that script works before I go any further. As you can see here, I'm calling a script called bin test. So let's go back a level into bin, cat test. So this script is very basic. It just says logger worked and outputs this into varlog messages. For those of you who don't know how logger works, if I say logger, hello there, and I look in the syslog for the system, you can see right there at the bottom, hello. And I've been on an interval writing worked and the time over and over again every 30 seconds or so, as we talked about. So now that the shell is disabled, should we be getting hello there? No problem. It's still collecting that data, shipping it up to Splunk. How about that worked? Still working. Last event was, hold on, too much stuff. I'm gonna just see the last entry here. So we see the last entry here was right now. This was a few seconds ago. So it's still working. For the life of me, this is very confusing. Do we even need to have any sort of Splunk shell for Splunk to do its thing? I thought maybe because we're doing these scripted inputs, this test.shell, I was curious if maybe because we're doing a scripted input with this stanza right here, that, yeah, okay, that's going to need a shell. And I almost dismissed it as this needs a shell. Turns out it doesn't. So I started looking over here at maybe collection issues. Not a problem. Then I started thinking, well, am I running my forwarder as root? Because then I'd be running as root, not Splunk, and it wouldn't matter either way. But I am running my forwarder as Splunk, which is generally what people do. So I guess more people run as root, to be honest, but you should be running as Splunk or some other user, whatever your company service account standards are. Anyhow, as far as I can tell, Splunk does not require a shell unless you're going to somehow interact as Splunk. Let me know if you guys find something else.